How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. We are having another one of those internet days. I tell you, it's not going to be much longer. Give us a few more weeks, couple more months, something to that effect. We're going to be trying to go to the other side of the state and get into a better network area. But as it stands right now, we're trying to make it do what it do. So be patient with us. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and also if you can join the membership. For you guys that are watching us from the Twitch side, you guys have the opportunity to be able to jump into the show whenever you feel like it by getting these invites that I'm activating for you guys at the moment. And then we're going to also have, as soon as it loads, for the rest of you guys that are coming to the show, because we're going to be talking about the 7 questions that a man should ask a woman on the first date, and I kind of want to get into that. So I do want to get some people's opinions because I know that some people have. There is VV. That's a good name there. VV. There we go. And yeah, so you guys on TikTok, I got YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter up here at the same time. So you guys have the opportunity to dive in whenever you're ready to dive in. I'm going to throw in, there it is, this link into the comment section that pretty much you guys on TikTok can't see it because I got multiple streams going on at the same time right now, trying to get everybody in here. All right, there you go. So you guys that are on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, you guys got the rest of the links. So if you guys want to jump onto the show, all you got to do is just hit that invite, and give me a second because I'm bouncing back and forth between multiple monitors. But I'll see you. I'll bring you on. Everybody has that opportunity to throw their shout out there, and everybody has their opportunity to come in and chime in onto the topic. Open-minded, open forum discussions. Today we're going to be talking about those 7 questions that every man should ask in early dating stages. And there's at least 7 questions that we're supposed to ask in early dating stages. Most of us really just ask, what's your name? What's your phone number? If we ask, where do you live? Just to see the proximity of where you are in comparison to where we met you. And then do you have kids and are you single? It's pretty much all we really care about. And then most men take putting in all the financial effort into impressing the girl so that they can get the girl to hang around long enough for the guy to determine if the girl is worth his time. Well, I was talking to you guys a couple of weeks ago, and I was showing you guys this deck of cards here that's called the Dating Assassin cards. So if you see that right there, I know I got a lot of glare going on. It's a rough day with the internet, but it's a pretty good thing. Got 150 card questions in there, and they got a lot of ups and down questions on there. Some pretty hard hitting questions, and some of the questions that I seen in there that I thought about, man, I should ask that. Like, you know how when a woman asks you, she asks you what's your name and she asks you how much money do you make? That's like the very next thing that she asks. They don't usually even care if you're single. They just ask, who are you and how much money do you make? Now, I think that, truth be told, because in this egalitarian lifestyle that we're pretending like we're in right now, where we're supposed to all be somewhat equal, but men are being more than oppressed by women, as even though women won't admit that, that's kind of the way it is, because all of the responsibilities of men are on men. There are no responsibilities of women, but the privileges of masculinity can be enjoyed by women, but there are no privileges to being a man. You just got to do what you're supposed to do. So in this scenario, we look at the ideologies that, yeah, there are some questions you could be asking these females, like, for example, the portfolio that these females got. What's your stock portfolio look like? They want to know how much money you make. How much money do they save? They want to know how much you make a year. You want to know what kind of bills she got. Because think about this, guys. Like, it doesn't matter if she's single or not. She can lie and say that she's single when she's dating somebody. She could lie and say that she's dating somebody just to turn you away. But if you're interested in this particular person, where as a man you're going to be financially obligated to take care of her, you need to find out what kind of debt she has, what kind of bills, what kind of overhead is she going to cost you. Here's another question that you should really be looking at. Like, one of the first things that you're talking to with this female is like, well, if she was dating a dude, would she expect that guy to pay for most things? Would she expect her boyfriend or her husband to pay for most things? What things would she be willing to pay for? And I don't want to hear half. I want to be like specifically, because I know that the bullshit of, oh well, we'll just go half. We'll go half. I'm not trying to go half because it's illogical to go half, especially since men make more money than women because men work harder than women on more dangerous and stressful jobs. Men are going to bring in more capital than women. So there's going to be multiple situations, especially since women date up and look for men that make more money. Those women are going to find men that are going to have more money than her. Even if she's educated, even if she has a good job, she's going to look for a man that is more educated than her with a higher income than her. So if you're dating this chick, you're probably making $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 more than her more often than not, because women do not date down. Women do not date men that make the same amount of money as her, and a woman does not like a man that makes less than her, that has less than her. So the question is, I don't want to hear, oh, we're going to go 50-50, because unless you're going to put up 100% of your money and I'm only going to put up 50% of mine because I make twice as much money than you, this isn't going to work out. It's not really going to be 50-50. It's going to be more of a 70-30 income. And then after you put up half of your income, you're going to follow that with me having to put up the other 70%, because half of your income, if you're making half of my income, half of your income is 25%. So that's going to leave me with the other 75% of the bills. A female that claims that she wants to go half and half, then the question is, well, if I'm taking you out, if a man was taking you out to dinner, you're talking about going half and half, what kind of dinners are you trying to go to? It ain't no female gonna contradict herself and say, well, I like to eat a steak and lobster. You're only saying steak and lobster because the man is paying for it. Well, if you were taking yourself out to dinner, what would you eat? That's a question that you ask. You don't ask a girl a straight up question, oh, well, what would you like to eat on a date? What kind of foods do you eat on a date? Because she's going to ask for the most expensive stuff if you're paying, because you get to prove to her that you could take care of her. You're going to throw all this money down and be like, oh, bet I can do steak and lobster every time. Now she's eating steak and lobster when she's normally eating Roman noodles and water. So if you're asking a girl, instead of asking her like what's the kind of foods that she likes to eat on a date, you ask her, well, what kind of stuff do you typically buy yourself on a date? Where do you like to go to eat on a regular basis on your own? Not when a man is with you. You know what I'm saying? Then she'll tell you the truth, because no woman eats steak and lobster every day. I mean, not unless if she's not balling out of control, because I can tell you right now, steak and lobster is not cheap, especially when the whole steak and the whole lobster is bought and paid or made for you. You're looking at $100 a plate almost for steak and lobster. And if you're doing a surf and turf menu, you're going to be dealing with a whole lot more than that. So you really got to ask, when you're looking at these dating questions, like who's going to be paying for the upkeep? Take like guys that get their own hairstyle. Does your girl do hair? She does her own hair. She might pay somebody to do her hair. Will she do her man's hair, or does he have to go and pay somebody to do his hair, even though she does her own hair? You got to find out how invested she would be in her relationship. And internet is getting on my nerves real quick. This internet is getting on my nerves, y'all. Hold on a second. I'm gonna have to throw up a hotspot over here, another hotspot, because we had a hotspot going. It looks like the hotspot that we was running is tapping itself out. So give me just a second to throw up another hotspot here, because while we're trying to get into this topic, we're trying to talk about some of the questions that you ask a female when you're when you're in those first meetings. And in those first meetings, it's not necessarily just the first date. Some of these first meetings could be like the second date, the fifth date. You guys could be casually conversing with one another on the phone. Date or any interaction where you're expected to pay money. Hopefully you already got an understanding. Hold on, guys. Hold on. There it is. We flipped into a different internet, so hopefully that should change us away from the bad network. And now as you see the screen is over the left side over there, we should have, there it is. Now we're back up and going. I had to throw it to a different internet because this is not going the way we want to go. Either way, it's tough times, guys. It's tough times. T-Mobile said they're going to have that fixed sooner or later, but we just had a power outage that happened earlier today, so I know the transformers are going to be struggling today. So we're just going to wing it. We're going to wing it. I got to go to a different side of town where the transformers are functioning better, where the internet is functioning better. But until we get there, let's just get back on this topic. When we're talking to these females, and we're trying to figure out like how dedicated is she to the men she has. You have to start asking her certain like longevity style questions. How many men actually ask a woman, what is your 20-year plan? And YouTube side, ask your retirement plan. Does she have a self in a long-term kind of thing? What kind of long-term goals does this female have? Because we typically don't find these things out. Usually, most men are chasing the type of female that's going to really. I'm into yet another internet here, so be patient with me. It's gonna flash on me one more time, and then we ride. And the other one, you gotta get with. It's, I was saying, this is a rough days on the show. What her long-term goals are, but you'll find out what their long-term goals are. That's what he doesn't like. That's gonna be hold on a second, y'all. Hold up. All right, well, I still see you there. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Like, up there on the main screen, and it is not letting me go up there on the main screen. There it is. All right. Backtracking a little bit. I said we need to get the when we're talking to these females on our first few hour, maybe a little bit longer, but there it is. Now it's there. So as I was saying, Jesus, headaches on headaches. Look, when we're meeting these females in the first few encounters, we need to be asking them the correct questions. We need to be asking them the kind of questions that will make sure that we are talking to the type of person that has long-term goals that are in line with our long-term goals. So like I was saying a few minutes ago before the internet took a dump, the first few encounters, yeah, you want to know whether or not she got kids. You want to really know what her financial obligations are, because she's going to come and talk to you about what your paycheck looks like. You don't need to, they're confident with talking about their job because they want to know how much money you have, because they're going to spend your money. They're not going to spend their money. So it doesn't really matter what kind of job that they do. And then these days, we got some of them that are so immoral and unethical that they could care less how degrading the job may be, as long as it pays the bills. And they're going to justify it. So OF girls are going to, say, oh, I make 100,000. So because I make 100,000, but I mean, it's not the kind of job that will not get your kid beat up in school. So it's there's political campaigns going up against what you do for a living. So it's not a prestigious job. You want to get you the kind of job that not only are you proud of, but the people around you are proud of. We used to have a society back in the day that probably was a lot more conservative than it is now. But back in the day, you used to hold self-respect and self-dignity, and your family. You also had respect for your family name. You also had honor. Your honor went through your name. You also had respect and honor amongst you and the people that you do business with. So it wasn't per se a situation where we're just loyal because we've known each other for decades. It's a situation where you guys are really looking out for one another because you have that respect and that loyalty for the other person. And also that person, when that person represents you or that person goes somewhere with you, you are identified by the company that you keep. That old saying, you are the company that you keep. So when you are going places and doing stuff that people don't approve of, that's not a situation where you have people saying, no, I don't want to do business with him because he messes with the wrong crowd. You could lose money that way. You could lose, capital gains that way. So what you're looking at instead is making sure that the people that are around you, that are associated with you, including your girl, holds themselves up to a higher standard. So you don't really want to be dating a female that's going to be sitting over here talking about, oh yeah, I'm an OF girl, and you're going to walk around proud of that, knowing that the person you're about to do business with is one of her number one subscribers. That's not going to fly. Women are going to say insecurity. That's not true. It's just I got more respect for myself than to associate myself with a lower class of individual. Now, the some women are going to get offended by that, but I mean, hold on before you start saying, well, I'm wrong for saying that a man should not be forced to degrade his own self-value and self-worth to partner with somebody who has themselves. We have to first start talking about the fact that you will devalue a man if he makes the exact same amount of money as you and he's not willing to spend that money on you. You will call him broke, amongst other things. So since we understand that ethics in a man, ethics in a moral man's values is going to come before his decision to, turn this 304 into a wife. So if a man says, well, I want a woman with a respectable job, I had Mr. Pibbs on the show. Mr. Pibbs was in the comment section over on Twitter a few times, and it's entertaining because back in the day when we were talking about this, Mr. Pibbs was dating a adult worker, and it was entertaining for me to talk to him about it, because when I start naming respectable jobs, he names a non-respectable job. I understand, but I just was sitting there wondering, why are you trying to make it seem like this individual has significant value to you? I'm not saying that she's not a good person. I'm just saying that she doesn't have significant value to you. Now, when we started having that conversation, I tried to work it out where he could understand it, but he didn't really understand it. And then a few months later, I did a throwback video of it. As a matter of fact, it's on YouTube, where he came back and he's pissed off because that exact same chick did not express the same value in him that he expressed to her, which is what I boiled down to from original. It's like, well, I did kind of tell you back, way back when, that this particular class of individual is not going to respect you. They're out for the money. So they'll say and do whatever you want them to say and do because they're getting paid to entertain you in an adult sexual fashion. They're getting paid to entertain you. So you think you got a road dog because you're cashing out on this person. You think you got a road dog because you're meeting all of their needs, but they're not meeting any of your needs. Yeah, she might have sex with you every now and again. She might do something nasty with you every now and again, but she's not meeting all of your needs. Then when you have a need and then you go call on her, she ain't going to come through for you. This is one of the things that you got to pay attention to. So if you're out there looking at, I'm talking to you guys today about those questions that men should ask females on the early stages of dating. You guys got to really, instead of just focusing on whether or not she's single, shit, if you don't like her, does it matter? Let's be real. I know that the bro code, you don't really want to date a chick that's got somebody else. I respect that. I live by that as well. So you're kind of hoping that she doesn't have a significant other, but you're not talking to this chick because you're trying to find a best friend. So it's irrelevant. It's an irrelevant question to ask. And why is it an irrelevant question to ask? Because if you are willing to communicate with me, then you either don't have a boyfriend or you don't have respect for him. And if you don't have respect for him, then I'm not going to fuck with you eventually. But if you have a boyfriend, then you should be able to respectfully tell me that you are already committed to somebody else. And if you're going to lie to me and tell me that you have a boyfriend when you don't, I still don't want to fuck with you because I can't trust you. So I need to find out what kind of person you are before I even give a shit about whether or not you have a boyfriend. Whether or not you're a wife with kids or a single mom, doesn't matter. So what we need to do, we need to really start analyzing what kind of person does she have? What kind of spending habits does she have? You notice when you're observing her, she's got nice hair. How much did it cost for her to put that in? It's not her real hair. It's not her real hair. She's going to get offended by that. I don't really give a shit. You want to know, how much it costs for you to style your hair up every month. You can ask it in an appropriate question. You can ask a question in and ask her straight up, hey, I see you did your hair up real nice. How much does it normally cost you to do your hair? I see you got your good nails on there. How much does it normally cost you to get your nails done? You start calculating her upkeep. You know what I'm saying? If you recognize some name brand outfits, do you have like a whole wardrobe of name brand stuff? So if you were to go shopping for yourself, would you get something that's on a discount or on sale, or would you go buy the name brand top dollar item? You're able to ask the kind of questions to find out if she's wasteful with her own money before she even gets a chance to touch your money. You're able to then analyze and determine if she's going to be the kind of person that's going to get in there with you. Like, for example, and I asked a woman this last week, and I got a really surprising answer, and it's a rare time that I get this type of answer. And I still had to educate her, but I like that answer, though. What I did was I asked this female, I said, look, if I gave you $1,000 cash with no obligations for that money, what would you do with it? First time a woman ever said, save it. I'm like, boss. Now I went on and I told her, I said, well, you should probably actually invest it in something that has a slow guaranteed gain with no a reasonable loss to it, where you either break even with the money or you make more money than the money that you put in there. That way, when you do come for the money, you actually are coming for more money than what you left there. You know what I'm saying? But on a regular basis, if you walk up to a female and you just, give them a tier system. If I gave you $1,000 with, no stipulations to it, what would you do with that $1,000? They're gonna go shopping. You give them $10,000. They're probably gonna buy them a car. You give them $100,000. They're probably gonna try to buy them a house, or they'll probably buy the car with the $100,000 and go shopping with the $10,000 and pay bills with $1,000. And then if you offer them like a $500,000 or $1 million, they'll probably buy themselves a house. They might do something special for a good family member that they value. They might pay off a couple people they didn't borrow some money to. All that stuff that they're talking about doing, but nowhere in there is that female going to say, well, I'm going to take care of the man that gave it to me. I'm going to use money to take care of the man that gave me that money. You'll never hear a woman say that. But you get to find out what kind of mentality they have. It's a selfish mentality. I'm going to be honest with you. Men are selfish, but men are selfish to a degree. Men have more childish, impulsive purchases, which is one of the reasons why advertisement puts attractive women in front of stuff that encourages people to buy it, because there was attractive women in the commercial, not because it's a durable product. Because if it was a durable product, you could have a dude using that same product and dudes will buy it because the product is durable. You're putting a chick in front of the product because dudes want chicks. So dudes buy stuff that chicks want. And if chicks want that, then the dude will buy it so that he can get the chick with that. You buy beers because girls like beers. You got the girls on the beer commercial. So you buy beers. It's a subconscious subliminal message there. But truth be told, outside of the impulsive buying, the men are specifically working day and night, year round, to do for somebody else, whether it's doing for their girlfriend, doing for their wife, doing for their girlfriend and their wife, doing for their kids, doing for their family members, doing for their girlfriend's family members. They're specifically 80 to 90% of their life, they're dedicating themselves to somebody else. And with that push and pull, with that tug of war, the issue that you have is that the average individual cannot piece together the ability to boost up themselves, because they partner with somebody who's all about spending. Here's another question. If you're dating a chick and you ask the chick, what would be your ideal weekend? Or if you had the opportunity to take 2 weeks off from work, if you had ideal time off from work, what would you do? First thing some of them are going to talk about doing is an event or travel. Very few are going to say, I'm going to go home to my very few are going to say, I'm going to spend extra time with my family because I've been working so hard. I haven't been home with my family. I'm going to cook dinner for them. I'm going to do this for them. I'm going to do that for them. They're not going to say anything related to, since I got more free time, I'm going to put more effort into the people in my family. But I know that you even heard Camilla Harris talking about we women are supposed to stick together. You and a family, you're supposed to stick with your family. It's not supposed to be women's liberation. Y'all ain't got shit to be liberated from. Y'all control and dominate everything. Once you put that female into the White House, the women are running the country, but that's not going to make it better, though. It's not going to make it better. If anything, it's going to make it worse. And the reason why it's going to make it worse, while being in an authoritarian position, that's the problem. being free from responsibility while being in an authoritarian position and believing that that's something that you can do, that is not going to work. So when you're dealing with these first encounters, what you have to deal with, what you have to recognize is that you guys got to start thinking about, are these girls interested in being mothers? Are these girls interested in taking on a man with children? You want to find out from these women, are they capable of even supporting children? Now, while you're talking about kids, you can find out how many kids she got and if she's taking care of them or if they're living with her mama, her auntie, or somebody. Because if her children are living with a relative and she is out clubbing with you, she's irresponsible. So you really don't want to fuck with that chick if you're really trying to find you a good woman. They say, oh, well, yeah, I gotta go out there and blow off some steam and take a break from my kids. Look, men don't get to blow off steam from shit. If you're looking for a responsible partner, we ain't talking about days off from the relationship. We talking about days off from work so that we can strengthen the relationship. We're talking about grinding. We're talking about long distance relationships so that we can strengthen our future, so that we can spend more time together in the future. We're not sitting over here talking about throwing away all of our success. And I'm going to say that again. We are not here talking about throwing away our success for our here and now entertainment. What we're working on right now is trying to find a type of partner that's going to level us up to a scenario where we can be able to say, I made it better. One of those questions, you see the guy walking around asking a girl Bitcoin or $100. If I give you $100 right now or a Bitcoin, which one would you take? You don't tell her what the Bitcoin is valued at. You just, tell her straight up, if I offered you $100 or a Bitcoin, which one would you take? And if her response to that scenario is going to be the $100, even if you offered her $1,000, because $1,000, that's a lot of money. But Bitcoin right now is $69,000. So if I offered you $1,000 right now or a Bitcoin right now, which one would you take? If she don't say Bitcoin, bro, it's time to walk away because she don't know shit about making money. She don't know shit about making money. The stocks and bonds and stuff that we supposed to be paying attention to, everybody got it on their phone. If you got an Android or an iPhone, you've got stocks. If you got a PC on your computer, there's a widget for stock options. You cannot tell me that every man and every woman in the United States, at the very least, does not know something about the stock market right now, that does not know something about Bitcoin exchange currencies right now, about cryptocurrencies right now. So when you're talking to an individual and you're trying to figure out what they're about, instead of, what do you do for fun? I don't give a fuck what you do for fun. I'm not trying to have fun right now. I'm trying to find me a life partner. It ain't no soldier trying to go to war by asking the other people that's going to go to war with him, what do you think is entertaining to you? Nobody gives a shit about what your combat are, man. You know what I'm saying? If you go into war, I want to know what your combat skills are. If we go into war, I want to know like how many bodies you drop. You know what I'm saying? If we go into war together, I want to know you got my back. If we're under fire and it's me and you versus 300 people, I want to know that you're going to take 150 and I'm going to take 150. You're going to take 200 and I'm going to take 100. I want to know that you're going to try to take more than I take because I got to make sure that you got my back. So when you're trying to get into this relationship with a female, you're not trying to talk about, well, what's your favorite food and what's your favorite drink and what's your favorite this and which I don't give a fuck about what your favorite shit is. I need to know, are you going to try to find out what my favorite shit is? Are you going to try to find out what makes me happy? Are you going to prioritize my wants, needs, and desires? That's what men need to be trying to find out. Are you the kind of woman that puts your man before yourself? Are you the kind of woman that sacrifices yourself, your wants, needs, and desires, and are willing to do without that kind of woman? If the answer to that question is no, it's time to walk away. Why? Because if he's self-sacrificing and he's in a relationship with somebody that's selfish, then that selfish person is not going to be self-sacrificing, which means it's not going to be universal. It's not going to be equivalent. You're not going to have the laws of alchemy going on there. If one person, it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, if one person is selfish and one person is self-sacrificing, The person that's self-sacrificing is looking out for themselves and looking out for the other person. The person that's selfish is looking out for themselves and saying thank you, if that, to the person that's self-sacrificing. But they're not sacrificing themselves for the other person. If I know that you need something and I don't care, but you know that I need something and you got me, so I don't have to do without. I'm the only person between the two of us that's not doing without. In a situation where if I know that you need something and I take care of that for you, and you're taking care of, you know that I need something, you take care of that for me, I'm taking care of, we're both taken care of. So that means that you self-sacrifice and have to put yourself on the line and sacrifice yourself for your partner so that your partner has the same ability to sacrifice themselves for you. When you're in those situations where you are actually going to link up with somebody where y'all are going to come up together. If you was on a chain gang digging ditches, your ass ain't going nowhere until the person that's chained to you come too. So you're not saying that we gonna climb up this mountain and I'm the only one climbing, because we ain't going nowhere. If I'm gonna climb up this mountain, you climbing up the mountain too. If I'm trying to get to the top, I gotta take you with me. We chain together. That's where the reference ball and chain came from, because wherever the husband goes, he's supposed to take his wife. So likely in our now modern 2024 society, wherever the wife goes, she's supposed to be trying to take her husband. So if you're trying to be a Miss Independent, an alpha boss lady, you're trying to be $100,000-$200,000 a year woman, you're supposed to be trying to make your man $100,000-$200,000 a year man. Your man making $40,000-$50,000, you making $70,000-$80,000, you trying to chase that promotion so that you can get up there and be that $120,000 a year woman. You dating a man that's making less money than you. You're supposed to help him, guide him, motivate him. Don't boss him around and talk to him like shit. You're supposed to be able to look at those opportunities like, oh, okay, he's got this skill set. He can utilize that in this company over here. Well, you know, baby, if you quit this job and go work over there, they'll give you a $10 raise on top of what you're getting paid now with your current employer. Like, help your man come up. If he's running his own business, advertise for him. Pitch it. If you standing somewhere, he's got a product that he's selling, talk about his product in front of people that looking for that same product. That's what you do with your friends. That's what you do with your friends. If your homeboy got something good worth selling and you know somebody trying to buy it, you're going to tell somebody, hey, I know somebody. Why are y'all not doing that with y'all parents and y'all husbands? Now, keep in mind, though, we're still in the same scenario where the females are in relationships with men, where the men are expected. If the woman wants to further her, she's expecting the man to pay for it. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. If a woman was to ever ask me, because she is driven to focus on her career, she asked me, am I willing to invest in her career? No. I am only willing to invest in you if you are willing to invest in me. So if you are walking into this conversation talking about prioritizing yourself, I have absolutely no interest in investing in you. Because if you were going to invest in me and then you passed by and told me that while you were investing in me, that there was something that you wanted to do and whatever that was would make us more money, then I would be investing in that. And if that turned into advancing your career, then that's what I would do. You are selfish to work something for yourself that's going to be there with or without me, and you don't really care about me focusing on you. While you're focusing on you, do I want to motivate and inspire and isolate all of the attention towards you? No, because we're in this together. You asked me, can I further your career? Well, if I furthered your career, can I quit my job and not work and you take care of me after that? Because if the answer to that question is no, then why am I furthering your career? Am I furthering your career so that you can be the primary income in the household? Am I investing in you right now so that when you finish getting where you're trying to go, I can quit and you can take care of me? If the answer to that question is no, there's no equality. But think about this though. When you're asking these questions, when you're teetering on the fence, you're asking these questions, you're trying to make it make sense. You gotta realize, because we get into these relationships, we have no expectations for the women. While we're in these relationships with no expectations, we have women that will get with women. Those women, they will have, in addition to the better jobs and more access to resources, They will have more effective standards of living in comparison to before they met the man. More often than not, the man typically leaves the girl with all of his shit, especially if they've been together for 10 or 20 years. But if they just met and it's been a few months or a couple years where she hasn't really built roots in the house, she might leave the house and start over somewhere else. But you helped improve her. We do not see men financially successful because they got the women. So I'm going to tell you ladies right now, I'm like, look, I know as soon as I started talking about this, I had a lot of women that were over on a TikTok side. They were like, nah, fuck all that shit, and jumped off the podcast because they don't want to hear that shit. But this is the true story, though. Check this out. We had to catch up. All right. Alpha boss ladies. Y'all the leader of the pack. Y'all supposed to pay the cost to be the boss. If you're the farmer and we're the crops, the men are the crops, you got to take good care of your crops in order to have a good harvest. You got to motivate and mentor and inspire your men to be more successful men so that you can have more financially successful men to pick from, so that you can have a financially successful man do more for you. You cannot have a dating pool where you demean, belittle, and degrade your men. You don't aid your men at all. You don't motivate and inspire your men at all. You don't help them come up at all financially, but you expect them to already be the finished product of your success and your expectations of success. That's unacceptable. You cannot tell me that you expect a car to be built without somebody having to build it. And then if you're not going to invest in the car to be built, like Rolls Royce, if you're not going to put up the money for it to be built, they're not going to make it. Just like Tesla. If you don't pay for it to be built, you're not getting a Cybertruck, because you got to put money down first before you get it. You're not going to get it, and then you're going to owe them something later. You got to put up money first in order for you to get it. So relationships are the same way. If you're going to find better men, to be more successful throughout your dating life, as you encounter men, even if they turn out to be complete failures in life, you are supposed to make it a point that you do something to improve that man and that man's standard before you walk away from that man, in order for you to say that you accomplished something in that relationship. Because if you did not up that man's status level in any way, shape, or form, if he did not benefit at all from that relationship, then you failed as a person. And I know women are going to say, oh, well, that's bullshit. Fuck that. No, I ain't got to do nothing for him. He's supposed to spoil me. I'm the prize. Ladies, true life is supposed to be the prize. But women are trophies. They're not. That's not a prize, though. You're not the prize. We're not winning when we get you. A trophy is on the shelf collecting dust, doing absolutely nothing. I can brag about the fact that I got it, but it doesn't benefit me at all. No woman wants to be a trophy. You want to be valued. You want to be appreciated. You want to be worth something, which means you've got to do stuff to be worth something. You've got to do stuff to be valuable. And you're supposed to be valuable to somebody else. You're not supposed to be valuable to yourself. You can call yourself a 10, but if you're worthless to the people around you, you are not a 10, because you have no value to the network that you have. If you're in a relationship with an individual and they have to do it all by themselves, you are not helpful. So just because you think that you are great, it's equivalent to working on a job where one of your coworkers thinks that they're the best thing since sliced bread, but they don't do shit during a rush, and you got to do extra work because they're not working hard enough. That person can think that they're great on their job. But the people around them talking about how they regret coming to work today because that person showed up. That is how much you are really worth. You are worth the effort that you put into the people around you. You are worth the value of people. If you're in this situation where you are literally not putting in as much as your counterparts, you're not showing value. And one of the things I tell you guys when we're asking these questions that we're supposed to be asking these females on the first few dates, we want to know, is our situation with this person going to benefit from this person being in it? Because you get a woman with children, you got a second income paying for the kids. A woman with no house, you got a house. A woman with no car, you got a car. But what does a man get when the women, because not all women are like this, but we do have a large enough quantity of them that are like this, that it is a common problem. Those women that get into the relationship for the sake of receiving. If you've got a partner that just jumped into this relationship for the sake of receiving, exactly what are you getting out of it? Paid into. And we already know that any stock option that you put money down on that you don't get as much money back off of it is a loss. No relationship is supposed to be a loss. Relationships are supposed to be fruitful, but in order for a relationship to be fruitful, you got to water your crops. You got to take care of that relationship. And that's got to be both sides. It's not just, oh, well, the man's got to do all the work to make the relationship successful and the woman just has to exist. The woman has to do as much, if not more work than the man. And the man is going to bring back the resources to keep that relationship sustainable in our society. Now, if we're going to flip the script and give the women a responsibility where they're going to go and bring it back, where the men can stay back at the house, yeah, that's fine. But that's not going to change the fact that the women are going to have to adhere to responsibility and accountability. We're not going to be in a situation where there's no accountability. That's not acceptable. We're not going to be in a situation where there's no accountability. So where we are right now, we have to really find a way. We have to really find a way to pressure ourselves as men to really try to, and you got to ask these hard-hitting questions. They're going to be bored. Women are going to make it seem disrespectful, even if they're not. They're going to be some that they're embarrassed to answer the question, and that's why they're going to say, "Oh, it's that type of question." I'm gonna be honest with you. They be fishing for compliments. You ask a woman, "How old are you?" You're gonna get one or two questions. You're either gonna get, "How old do you think I look?" I didn't ask you how old I thought you was. I asked you how old you are, because I want to know. Because statistically, you're worthless after 25. So usually after 25, they start lying about their age and dodging the questions anyway. So when you ask them, "Well, how old are you?" Nah, if they're like 30, 35, 40, 45 years old, they're probably going to not try to answer that question. They're going to try to make it seem like, oh, they're not that old. Now, they're going to call that a flirt. Oh, well, if they ask you how old you are, well, how old do you think I am? And then you're supposed to guess 10 years younger than what you think she is and try to aim for, if she looks like she's in her 40s, you want to say that she looks like she's in her 20s. And oh, thank you. No. If you ask me how old do I think you look, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to add 20 years to it. So if you look 28, I'm going to say 42. Now, how old are you really? How old are you really? I might say 48 because I did say 20 years. I might say 48. You look 40. You look 28. I'm going to say 48. 48 years old. You look 35. I'm going to say you look 56. How old are you? Because I asked you how old are you. Now you want me to know how old do I think you are? 56. Now how old are you? I'm not about to look at you and it's a fish for compliments because you're going to look at them and then you're going to analyze that and then determine, hey, she's got a decent quantity of attractiveness to her, so she might be, pretty young. Look, you got some of us that don't age. Asians don't age. Minorities don't age. You look like you're 23 when you're 15. You look like you're 23 when you're 35. So between 15 and 35, you're probably not going to age. But between 35 and 40, between 40 and 50, you age rapidly. So if I don't see a lot of wrinkles all over your face and the wrinkles up underneath your neck, then I'm probably going to assume that you're under the age of 30, even if you're over the age of 30. But likewise, if you're under the age of 22, I can't really tell the difference because you don't really look like you're much older than 22 when you're 16, 17, 24, 25, 29, 30. So again, like I said before, when you ask a woman how old she is, you're asking her for one to be legal because you don't want to date somebody that's under the legal age. And if they look like they're too young, I'm not trying to feed you compliments. Oh, well, you know, you look like you're 17, 18 years old. Nah, I don't give a fuck about that. Nah, bitch, you look like 70 right now. So how old are you really? I asked you. I hate people answering a question with a question. I would probably not even answer the question and just like divert to, I am not a fan of people that answer questions with a question. I ask a question, I expect an answer. And she's going to take me seriously then. She's, oh, I was just playing. I don't play with Q&As. This is an inquiry. I'm trying to make sure that you are what I want. And I can't be sure that you are what I want if you're not answering my questions. I need you to answer my questions. Do you think that these females is going to be trying the boss like that at the job when they're trying to get a job interview? A job asks you how old are you, they're going to tell you how old you are. The job asks you how many years you've been working on a job, they're going to tell the boss how many years they've been working on a job. You ask a woman how much, what's your body count? If she's not willing to answer that, it's too fucking high. It is what it is. It is what it is. If she could say between 1 and 8 with a good heart, then at least she's able to say it with honesty. And you already know that whatever her number is times 3, and men brag and boast and overstate, and whatever their number is going to be divided by 3. So if she says 8, it's really 24. If she says 300, it's probably 900. If she says 1150, it's probably 3,500. You know, so just think about it now. Just think about it. Check the Carfax. Check that 304 facts. You got to figure it out. But you have to understand, women don't want to tell you what the body count is, and they're insecure about their body count because they know that men don't like it. But a woman can look at a man and say that you're not tall enough. Women are insecure about their body weight. That's why they're always trying to lose weight, but they're always trying to pay attention to how much money's in a man's bank account. They want the man to be able to blurt that out. Well, you want me to tell you how much money I make? How heavy are you? How much do you weigh? You know? Oh, I don't feel comfortable talking about that. I don't feel comfortable talking about my money. Until you qualify to have it spent on you, we shouldn't be talking about how much money I make. No man should be talking to a female about how much money he makes if she's not contributing to his financial success. I know some women that are going to disagree with that. But if you're not willing to give your man your paycheck for him to pay your bills and invest in stocks, bonds, and resources, then why do you care how much money he makes? You're going to take your money and take care of your responsibilities. He's going to take his money, take care of his responsibilities. Then he's going to take any money that he's got left over and probably waste it on you. And if you're not trying to find out what kind of portfolio he of his investment strategies, where he money making for him, so that you can learn how to make money for yourself if you're not already doing it for yourself, then it makes absolutely no sense for you to be trying to find out what kind of money he got going on. Does he own stuff? Does he have an inheritance? Is there a trust with his name on it? You don't need to know none of that stuff, because the only reason why women are going to try to find those things out is to find out how much money he has that she will potentially be able to gain access to. That's the only reason why you're asking him that, because his character as a person is not going to be defined by how much money do you make and what do you do for a living. His character as a person, he could be a person that picks up trash on the side of the road for free and be broke and still have the kindest heart and be the most generous and giving man that you'll ever find. And he could be a multi-billionaire and he can beat you up on a regular basis, like Chris Brown, Quavo, Mike Tyson, Ray Rice, Ike Turner. So, I mean, you can't sit over here asking a man how much money does he make. That's just disrespectful. You shouldn't do it. If you're not willing to invest in this man financially, you shouldn't ask him how much money he makes. You know, you should only be asking the man how much money does he have towards his objective. And then find out how much money are you going to contribute to meet his objective. If you're willing to contribute to his objective and you just need to know how much further he's trying to go to get to where he's trying to get to, and you're willing to put in on that, then you can ask him. But if you have no care, you want the finished product, you have no care if this dude is successful or not, you just want him to cash out on you, and you're not willing to invest in him, then you don't even know how much he makes, and he shouldn't spend $1 on you. Because again, where dudes are spending all of their money on trying to impress a female that they don't like or don't even know if they like her yet. They're impressing this female to stick around. And some men are doing it just to sleep with the female. But if you're paying all this money for this person to stick around, and then you find out that after she stuck around long enough that you don't like that person, you just wasted so much money. And I'm just telling you, it's not worth it. And since relationships are not about companionship anymore, it's transactional. Women are looking for financial stability. Men are looking for companionship. Women are looking for financial stability. So since it is not about companionship on both sides of the field, how good you treat her does not matter if you can't afford to buy her the shit she wants. So you guys got to figure out, is she greedy? When she go to the restaurant, how many plates of food does she order? Does she get dessert? Does she get a doggy bag? How many times does she go out to eat every week? Ask her these questions, y'all. Ask her these questions. You know, what does she do for fun? What does she, you can ask her what she does for fun. How much does that shit cost? You know, how many vacations does she take a year? You know, find out where does she go? You know, how often does she travel when she's not on vacation? You know, how many times does she experience an unexpected emergency every year? You know, these are the things that you can just ask these random questions to a person when you first meet them, and then be able to find out exactly how cost effective that person is towards your agenda. And if that person is going to cost you more money than you're making, that's a liability. If you're able to rationalize this, men, from a logical and rational situation, then you're able to before you even get emotionally attached to the female, you're able to determine that that's not what you want. Yeah, she's attractive, but just because she's attractive does not mean that she's going to put out. And just because she puts out does not mean that she's going to be helpful to you. So instead of paying attention to her attractiveness, and instead of paying attention to whether or not she puts out, pay attention to what she's going to do with you and what she's going to do before you when she's not spreading her legs in the bed. Because you got to understand that I'm tired, that time of the month, you got all of these excuses. You got a different excuse every week where you will end up renting out this female, and she's still not going to give you nothing. So let's be honest, man. It ain't about that. It's going to come. If she wants you to have it, you're going to get it. So instead of focusing on that, you need to be focusing on what kind of helper she's going to be in between sessions, in between adult interactions with each other. What kind of helper is she going to be towards your success? And if she's not helping towards your success, then she is not worth your time. So instead of spending all this extra money trying to impress a female so that you can earn the responsibility to continue paying that much money for that woman, instead, you find out how much you can benefit from that woman before you start spending money on that woman. And if you're not getting at least enough effort to validate the income that you're spending, you don't even need to go that far. Don't even start investing in it. Cut that shit loose. With the internet today, I'm probably going to have to flash boot up everything again, because we was running smooth up until like 10 minutes before the show, and then all the internet started acting wonky. That's all right. Tomorrow night we got our members only show. We're gonna be doing, and you guys are gonna be free to come. I've made a members only show open to the public, but Sunday nights it's usually members only shows, and we're gonna be doing Q&As where we're gonna have some outrageous questions from the fans that we're gonna go over. We're gonna make some comments on those outrageous questions from the fans, and any Q&As that you guys have, we're gonna be able to touch base on those so that you'll be able to put your 2 cents in on those comments. And then we've got Monday, we're supposed to be talking about the history behind some of these holidays, because we got Halloween. Was taught about Christopher Columbus in their K through 12 years. So, you know, probably going to be spending more time going down the history of Halloween and going down the history of Christmas and the real Halloween and Christmas, not the marketing shtick from like, you know, Christmas is celebration of Jesus' birthday. That's a lie. But we're gonna go into that. And then we have, I believe I got in touch with my CPA that we were talking about having on the show last week. And I believe that we're going to get the CPA on the show next week, Wednesday. So I got to make sure that I reboot all of the systems before next week, Wednesday, because we're going to get us live on the podcast. We're going to get us a CPA. We're going to be talking about tax stuff. We're going to be talking about tax benefits, some hypothetical tax related scenarios. We're going to be talking about some ins and outs about how to not have to spend so much money with Uncle Sam until Project 2025 goes into effect in 2025. So, you know, I know they're saying that this situation is going to go in the direction that nobody wants it to go. So just be sure to know that, you know, you got to have a CPA that knows how the laws are about to change, because 2025 tax season is going to be different than 2024. So just be aware. And if you have a CPA where you can talk to that CPA and they can give you tax advice where you'll be able to make sure that the money that you're spending is tax deductible, that's when you're actually spending, you're generating debt as a tax blanket instead of just wasting money for the sake of wasting money. So we do have another show that's going to happen on Tuesday. I do believe I'm probably going to talk about stocks. I was waiting on Brett Owens to book the day. But he said that he had to do his, I do believe his kids got Little League. So we're going to try to get him scheduled around Little League. And then we have the dating coach that she's supposed to be getting onto the show, but she should be getting onto the show between Thursdays and Sundays. So I'm going to reach back out to her and find out where she's at. We're going to rearrange our schedule and get her in here. So as soon as we figure that part out, then I'll be able to let you guys know that she's coming, and then we'll be able to talk to her on the live podcast as well, which means I'm going to have to reboot my internet a second time. So we're going to try to we're going to try to get everything where we want it to be before airtime. I'm probably going to like shut down the whole network and reboot it all back up like an hour before game time. That way, when it's time for us to go live on the show, that everything is ready for us to go live on the show. But just note that we're live 7 days a week, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. So you guys will see us 7 days a week. And I'm going to go ahead and sign out of TikTok first. And I want you guys to understand, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you to make it make sense. So ladies, make it make sense. And as we sign out, that are following us on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, I really appreciate you guys coming to the podcast. You guys definitely make us a good, long-standing podcast. Oh, look, there's Jackie. Jack Eddie Woods. How you doing, Jack Eddie Woods? On our way out the door. I wanted to on my way out the door talking to Jack Eddie Woods. But yeah, I wanted to say I really appreciated you guys for coming to the podcast where we had chat issues, where we had feature issues, local lagging and or freezing, studio operations, live video or other. You got all of it. But I'm going to put live visuals from both sides. That way they can do something about that. Because, you know, anybody that's coming to the podcast, looking at the podcast, is probably going to see that the live visuals aren't doing very well. And they'll probably walk away from that live before they kick it with you through the functions. So definitely you got to get those live visuals fixed. But, you know, either way, we're going to improve as we go along. So that's why I wanted to tell you guys I really appreciate y'all coming to the podcast. Thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night.